What is going on, guys? It's Panjno here, and today I'm going to bring you guys the ultimate FPS increase guide update for Overwatch. It's coming up to around about the year mark now since I last released my last Overwatch FPS increase guide, and in the last year there's been a lot of updates to both the game and operating systems along with hardware and drivers. There are a bunch of new techniques in which you can use to ensure that you're getting the best FPS possible, and in this video we're going to be updating those and sharing them with you. If you guys haven't seen the previous video, no need to worry because everything in that video and more will be covered in this one, and if you guys have watched my previous Overwatch FPS increase guide, then make sure that you stick around for this one for further improvements. The main purpose of this video is to ensure that you guys are getting the best performance possible, the lowest amount of input lag, reduced stuttering, and the highest frame rates possible, no matter what budget you're running on, whether that be a low-end system, medium-end system, or a high-end system. No matter who you are and what your current performance is, we're looking to increase that and improve your overall general experience within inside of the game. If you guys have any friends, family, or teammates that might benefit from these fixes, please do share this video around with them as it will be deeply appreciated. And if you guys are also happy with the results of this video, it'll be deeply appreciated if you guys can press that like button as it does help me out a ton. And make sure that you leave any questions, queries, results, or any feedback, or even any suggestions in the comment section down below, as it's always fantastic to hear what you guys have to say. With all that being said and done, let's get right into the video. Okay, so starting off with the video, what you guys need to go ahead and do is go down into the description below and download the updated FPS increase pack. Inside of here, you're going to be finding configs and other files to help you increase your FPS with inside of Windows. So download that pack, get it onto your desktop, and you'll be given a file that looks just like this. Then you're either going to need WinRAR or 7-zip to open this file. Simply go around and Google and install one of the programs if you don't already have it. Right click on the file, hit extract here, and then we'll be given a folder that looks just like this. Inside of the folder you'll find there is a config folder, time resolution, csetup, and unpark CPU app. Okay, so starting off, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be installing our custom game config. To do this, go into the config folder, and you'll notice that there is a notepad file inside of here. Simply double click onto the config commands notepad, and then from the top to the bottom we're simply going to be dragging all the way down, right clicking and copying everything inside of here from where it says AA detail all the way down to window mode equals 0. Once that's all copied, what you simply then need to go ahead and do is navigate over to your documents. Once you guys are in your documents, go over and navigate to your Overwatch folder. And inside of here, go to the settings folder, and inside of here you're going to find settings_v0. Double click on the file and it'll open inside a notepad. And what we're interested in doing inside of this file is deleting everything underneath the render 13 brackets. So simply all the way from AA detail all the way down to where it says window mode equals 0, leaving the stuff at the bottom, and then simply right clicking and pressing delete or hitting backspace, and then your game config should look just like this. Then what we're simply going to be doing is right clicking and hitting paste, and then pasting in the settings from my custom config commands. It should look just like this, just like it did before. Scroll down, make sure that space is between there, and your config should look just like this. Once that's then set, simply go up to the top, hit file, and save. Another quick thing in which you can do with your config is go up to the cinematics, show intro equals, and set this value to 0 to make sure that it doesn't show you any intro screens within the game, so you can just boot into the game and get playing faster. Once you guys have set that, simply hit file and save. You can then exit out of the config files. And moving on from there, once we have gone ahead and set our custom config files, we're going to be going into game and matching our game settings and setting them to the values in which we wish to do so. Now once you guys have booted into the game after installing the custom config files, simply go over and navigate to your options menu. Inside of here, go to the video options menu, and then what we can do is set your settings to what your personal settings need to be. I highly recommend using display mode full screen. I'm personally using window borderless at the moment because I'm recording, and I just want to make sure that there are no issues with the recording which I'm doing. But for you guys, I recommend setting this value to full screen. Then you can go ahead and set your native monitor resolution and the refresh rate to go with it. For me, that's 1920 by 1080 at 144 Hz. Now, field of view is completely personal preference, and you can set this value to whichever you wish to do so. I personally run maxed out at 103. Now we're moving on down to the options in which we're really interested in. VSync, we're going to be making sure that this is set to off. Triple buffering is then also going to be set to off. Reduce buffering is now going to be set to the on position. Display performance stats is also going to be set on, and we're going to then go into the advanced performance stats tab found here by pressing plus, and then we're going to show frame rate, and we're going to enable that just like so. Then we can simply minimize the advanced performance stats. We can then go down to limit FPS, and we can set this to custom. Then we're going to be increasing our frame cap all the way up to 300. You can set this frame cap manually if you wish to do so, if you want to lock it to your monitor's refresh rate, but if you want the lowest amount of input lag possible and lowest frame times possible, you're going to want to make sure that this is uncapped. Some people prefer to have a locked frame rate. There is no argument for or against, it's just down to personal preference. So you can unlock it like I do, or you can personally cap it if you wish to do so. But they're interested in going inside of our graphics quality and going to the advanced tab. Inside of here, we're going to be setting our render scale to either 100 or 75%. This is where you're going to have to decide whether or not you want to be going for a lower end config or a higher end config. If you guys want to go for a lower end config and you want the best performance possible with the lowest amount of input lag possible, I do recommend setting your render scale to 75%. But for you guys who are running on medium end and high end rigs, make sure that you set this to 100%. But you will also see benefits whether or not you're on a high end or medium end rig from setting this to 75% as well. It just depends on whether or not you're visually happy with that. But for me, I'm personally going to be sticking it at 100%. Now we're going to be going down to the texture quality tab. Now I recommend setting this to whichever build tier your system is set to. If you have a low end system, set the texture quality to low. If you have a medium end system, set the texture quality to medium. If you have a high end, set it to high. That way you'll be seeing the best results possible, but you can pretty much run all of this on low and the game will still look absolutely fantastic. It's very, very well optimized, and low settings still look very, very acceptable. I'm personally running on a medium to high end machine, and I personally turn this off to low to get the best results possible. Make sure that all of your other settings match everything inside of here. We're looking for lows and offs and pretty much all the options inside of here. Go to local reflections, make sure they're set to off, ambient occlusion off, and these options down here at the bottom can all be personal preference, and you can switch them to whichever you wish to do so. Once your settings are all set and they match mine or they've been changed to your own personal preference, go ahead and press the apply button found here in the bottom right. Now once you guys are back at the main menu screen, for you Windows 10 users, we're going to be enabling Windows Game Mode. To do this, make sure that you press the Windows key plus G, and you'll see on screen now that it'll bring up a bar that looks just like this. You want to go over to the tachometer looking option, hover over it, and it'll say turn on game mode. We're personally going to be clicking that. It'll then be highlighted blue and game mode will then be enabled, and you can simply press Windows plus G to get rid of the bar, and then game mode is set. If you guys can't set game mode, or you're having troubles opening that up, or the bar will not open, or you're not running the latest version of Windows 10, I highly recommend that you go down into the description below and download the latest update for Windows 10 to ensure that your system is running on the Windows 10 full creators update. If you don't know what I'm talking about here, make sure that you just click on the link, follow along, and see if your Windows is running the most up-to-date version. If it's not, let it go ahead and update that, as you will see performance benefits from this, whether it be small or drastic. It completely depends on your system. But to ensure that you're running the most optimized version of Windows, make sure that you go ahead and download those updates. Once game mode is then enabled, what we can simply then go ahead and do is exit out of Overwatch. Once we've closed Overwatch, you can then go ahead and open up the Blizzard Games app, go to the top left hand side and go to the drop down menu, and then navigate down to the settings cog. Inside of here, go to the General tab and go over towards the When I Launch Game, keep the Battle.net window open, go to this drop down menu here, and then make sure that you select exit Battle.net completely, just to ensure that Battle.net is not using any excess resources or running anything in the background. This will especially help those on lower end systems. Then once that's set, make sure that you go ahead and scroll all the way down and then go to the Advanced Settings tab here and use Browser Hardware Acceleration when available, make sure that is unchecked, and then hit Restart Later on the Blizzard app. And then you can simply press the Done button in the bottom right hand side. Now moving on from there, we're going to be going over to where Overwatch is installed. Now if you guys are not sure where Overwatch is installed in your system, it's very easy to find out where this is. Simply go to the Blizzard launcher again, go into the top left hand side, go to the settings cog, go all the way down to game install/update, then go for the folder used for gameplay, and then that will be the folder and where your Overwatch is installed. So simply navigate over to there, and once you're in that folder, we can continue on. So for me, my game is installed to my secondary hard drive in my games folder, Blizzard, Overwatch, and here's the games folder we're looking for. Once you guys are inside of this folder, then simply go over to the overwatch.exe found here, right click on it, go to properties, go to the compatibility tab found here at the top. Now the options we're about to enable sometimes cannot appear on some operating systems, depending on what hardware you're running on or different configurations. Sometimes these options might look a little bit different, or they might not exist at all, and sometimes they are there for everyone. So if you guys are noticing these options, or the options are worded a little bit differently, make sure that you do follow along with them if they are worded differently. If they're not there, that's absolutely fine, you can just simply skip this part. But for those people that do have the options here, go to the override high DPI scaling behavior, scaling performed by, and check that box. Then what you can also do is go to the disable full screen optimizations box underneath it as well and give that a check. Once those two fixes are applied, make sure you press the apply button in the bottom right hand side, press OK, and then you can simply exit out of the game folder. Now moving on from there, we're going to be performing some Windows specific optimizations to ensure that your PC is running to the best of its ability, not just in Overwatch, but in pretty much every game you play, which will also complement your Overwatch FPS, potentially fix any stuttering issues, reduce those frame times, and reduce input lag. Now moving on from this point, what I recommend that you guys go ahead and do, and I'll show you how to do, is creating a system restore point from this moment. This is just to ensure that if you run into any issues with this guide, or your system does not like any of these optimizations optimizations or fixes, you can simply revert back to how your Windows was right now before we apply any of them, just to ensure that you're on the safe side, and you can revert everything back just in case you don't want to keep the fixes or your system doesn't like them, in the extremely rare case in which something might not work properly. So to ensure that we can go ahead and avoid all of that and make sure that everyone is happy, simply go into the bottom left hand side and then type in restore. Then a tab will come up saying create a restore point. Simply go ahead and click on that. Go to your local disk C drive, make sure that protection is turned on. To turn this on, simply go to the configure tab and set around about 3 to 5% inside of here. I'm going to be setting at 3%. Make sure that turn on system protection is checked at the top, then press apply and OK. Then what you can simply go ahead and do is go to the create a restore point now, press create. You can then simply name it anything you wish to do so, something that you remember, so I'm going to call this now backup. Then once your restore point is then named, simply press the create button. It'll then notify you that the system restore point was created successfully, and that's absolutely fine, and then press OK. That means that from any point on in this tutorial, if anything goes wrong or you're not happy with anything or you don't want the optimizations anymore, you can simply go into your Windows boot options and then you can restore Windows back to the point that you just created there to ensure that nothing can go wrong. Now with doing this, most of you guys are more than likely going to be using Discord, and if you do Discord, you can use hardware acceleration modes in which can take away resources from your games, which can sometimes cause FPS stuttering and lower frame rates. So to disable hardware acceleration with inside of Discord, simply go over to the app, go into the bottom left hand side here until you see user settings under your username, then simply go over to the appearance tab, then scroll all the way down until you see the advanced tab found inside of here, and hardware acceleration will more than likely be turned on. Simply press the switch until it goes to the grey setting and it's turned off, and it will more than likely tell you that you have to restart Discord. That's absolutely fine, just go ahead and restart it. Once it's then done, that change is then applied and you can simply either keep Discord open or close out. And the same can be done for Google Chrome users. If you guys use Google Chrome, I highly recommend turning off hardware acceleration, as it pretty much does nothing for the browser, especially if you guys are running on gaming machines, whether they even be low end, high end or medium end. So make sure that you go ahead and disable hardware acceleration, as even if you leave Google Chrome open whilst playing games, it is sucking way more resources than it needs to. Simply go over to Google Chrome, go over to the top right hand side to the three dots found here at the top, go to the settings tab found there, then simply scroll all the way down until you see the small advanced tab found here at the bottom. Scroll all the way down again, and you'll notice that there is a small switch available to check called use hardware acceleration when available. Make sure that you switch that again to the off section. It'll ask for the application to be restarted, and once it's restarted, go ahead, come back into here, make sure that it's set to the off position, and you're pretty much good to go, and you can exit out of Google Chrome or keep it open if you wish to do so. This what we're going to be doing is clearing Windows temporary files. To do this, it's very simple. Go into the bottom left hand side and type in %appdata%, press enter, and then go to the app data folder found here at the top. Then simply go into the local folder. Then what you want to do is scroll all the way down until you see a folder called temp or temp. Go inside of that folder, and then from the top to the bottom, we're going to be highlighting and dragging everything inside of here, right clicking and pressing delete. It's going to notify you that the action cannot be completed for all folders and files inside of here. That's absolutely fine. Just go ahead and hit do this for all current items and hit skip. And if it asks you to do that again, just go ahead and press the skip button. Now the only folders and files that are going to be left inside of this folder are the only ones actually being used by Windows and the programs in which you are using. Everything else inside of there are excess dump files, cache files, cookie files, just excess stuff from programs which has pretty much just been a massive waste bin hidden away in your PC, and this can be taking anywhere between 100 megabytes all the way up to around about 60 gigabytes I've heard stories of, which is absolutely insane. So if you guys have just removed a whole load of stuff, make sure that you do let me know in that comment section down below, as it's crazy some of the stories I get out of there. But it's pretty much just excess dump files, and I've been recommending people to do this for ages, as there's pretty much complete performance gains to be gained from this and nothing negative. Once it's then cleared out, what I like to go ahead and do is press the exit out. Then I also like to go ahead and right click on the recycling bin and hit empty recycle bin. Next, what we're going to be doing is ensuring that our Windows power options are going to be opening up the resources to the operating system and the games as they need them, and ensuring that no issues are coming around with that, ensuring that you get the maximum performance possible. To do this, go into the bottom left hand side and then type in power. Then simply click on any of the battery icons with the cord going around it. Any one of them will do. Go to the power options tab found here at the top, then simply go over to the show additional power plans and then select the high performance power plan inside of here. Once it's then selected, go to the change plan settings. You can then set the turn off display and put computer to sleep options to whichever you wish to do so. That's personal preference. I'm personally going to go with never, but what we're interested in doing is going to the change advanced power settings found here. Inside of this tab, go into the hard disk section, turn off hard disk after, and set the setting to 0. Once it's then set, press apply. Scroll all the way down to the processor power management settings, go inside of there, go to the processor performance core parking min cores, 100%, minimum processor state 100%, and maximum processor state 100%. If these are not set to 100%, simply double click on the percentage, set it manually, and then press the apply key. You more than likely will not see the processor performance core parking min cores setting inside of here. If you do, make sure it's set to 100%, but if you don't, do not panic, as that is absolutely normal. Then press OK, save changes, and then exit out your power options. Moving on from there, we're going to be unparking our CPU cores to ensure that Windows has the full access to the full potential of your CPU, and your games can also access that as well, ensuring that you're getting the best performance. To do this, go into the FPS pack provided, go inside of the unpark CPU app folder, and then run the unpark CPU utility inside of here. Once the utility is open, we're simply going to be going over to the check status button there and pressing it. It's then going to search for your CPU in your registry files to see if your cores are parked or unparked. This could take a minute or two, so just make sure that you let it run. And once the program has finished checking the status of your CPUs, it's more than likely going to let you know that the status is set to parked. If that is the case, we're simply going to be going over to the unpark all button, pressing that and waiting a few moments until it completes those fixes. And then once it's completed its process, it will set the status to unparked, and then what you can simply go ahead and do is exit out the CPU unpark app, as the fixes are now applied. Next, what we're going to be doing is ensuring that games are getting the highest priority status of your hardware and operating system resources within inside of Windows using the registry edit. So to enable the game prioritization tweak within inside of Windows, you simply need to go into the bottom left hand side and type in run, press enter, then simply type in regedit, then also press enter. Inside of here, we're then going to be going inside of the HKey local machine folder by double clicking, going to the software tab by double clicking, then scrolling down to the Microsoft tab. Double click on the Microsoft tab and scroll all the way down until you see a folder called Windows NT. Double click on the Windows NT folder, go to current version and double click on that. And what you're going to go ahead and do is scroll all the way down until you find the multimedia folder found here. Double click on the multimedia folder, go to system profile. Then once you guys have clicked on the system profile folder, go over to the right hand side and under network throttling and the default keys found here on the right hand side, right click, create new, dword 32-bit value, then set the name of this to SystemResponsiveness. You can find the copy and paste in the description below if you wish to go ahead and do so. Make sure that you don't have any spelling issues inside of there. Once that's then set, press the enter key, double click on SystemResponsiveness and set the value data to 00000000. And make sure that's set to a base of hexadecimal. Press OK, then go into the tasks folder found underneath there, then go inside of games. Then here on the right hand side, we're interested in editing some of the values on some of the options here. Go to the GPU priority tab, double click on that, and then make sure that the value data is set to 6. I think by default this is set to 8, but if it's any number besides 6, make sure that it's set to 6. Then press OK. Go to the priority key by double clicking and also set the value data inside of here to 6 to match the GPU priority and press OK. Then go over to the scheduling category, double click and then set the value data inside of here to high with a capital H, just like so. Press OK and then you can simply exit out of the registry editor. Now moving on to updating your GPU drivers, this shocks me how many people do not do this. The majority of the time, GPU drivers do not manually update themselves. So if you haven't manually gone and updated your GPU drivers and gone out of your way to do this, then your GPU drivers will not be up to date. And this is very, very, very important. And this can solve so many FPS issues and can give massive FPS gains just from staying up to date with your GPU drivers. So what you guys need to go ahead and do is go down into the description below and go to whichever corresponding link applies to you. You can find out which GPU you're running from CCleaner there at the top. So if you AMD Radeon guys and GeForce Nvidia guys, go ahead and click on your corresponding link now, and you'll be brought to either one of these websites. For you GeForce Nvidia users, go to the automatic driver updates tab found here at the top, hit download the Nvidia GeForce Experience application, run it on your PC, or go ahead and download and install everything for you. For you AMD Radeon users, it's also very simple. Simply go to the automatically detect and install your driver utility found here, download it, install it, go ahead, let it do its thing, and it's going to go ahead and update your GPU drivers for you and ensure that everything is running in tip-top condition. And then once that's on your system, what we can simply then go ahead and do at this point is we can go ahead and hit that restart button, go into the bottom left hand side, right click on your power button and hit restart. Come back onto this video and then we can continue on once all of the fixes have applied and saved and you're on a fresh Windows reboot. Welcome back everyone. Now that you've restarted your PCs, we can simply go ahead and initiate the boot process to boot Overwatch in the best way possible. Go into the FPS pack provided one last time and get the time resolution app inside of here and drag that onto your desktop. The brief summary of what this program does is it basically means that your hardware, operating system, and game can all speak to each other at a much more efficient rate, ensuring that the latency between those is decreased, ensuring that you guys have the highest frame rates and the lowest amount of input lag. And this can also reduce stuttering as well, giving you a much more responsive experience. It's pretty much the basic summary of what time resolution does. So what you want to do whenever you boot into Overwatch is simply have time resolution on the desktop, and then we can simply boot into time resolution. Once you've booted into time resolution, we're then interested in pressing the maximum button found here on the left hand side, and then whilst we're playing we're going to keep this application open so we can just minimize it, play our game, and once we're done playing the game we can come into time resolution, hit the default key, and then exit out. But assuming we're about to boot Overwatch, we're going to be opening up time resolution, pressing maximum, and then we're simply going to be going over to the Overwatch.exe and launching it. Now, one last quick, easy and effective optimization which you can apply is you can simply tab out of Overwatch, go to your desktop. Once Overwatch is open, right click on your taskbar, go to Task Manager, go to the Processes tab found here at the top, go to Overwatch Application and double click, go to the Overwatch application, right click on that, go to Details, right click on Overwatch.exe, set priority, and then you can set it to high, change priority, and then you can exit out of the taskbar to ensure that you're running the high priority mode within inside of Overwatch to ensure that your input lag and your frame rates are kept to the best they possibly can be. And that's pretty much it, guys. That is my 2018 ready ultimate FPS increase guide for Overwatch. There's a lot more fixes and optimizations inside of here, alongside improvements on the old video as well, and you guys should be more than pleased with the results of this video. That being said, if you can post the results down in the comment section below, post any queries or questions you might be having, and share this video around with any friends, family, or teammates that might also benefit from this as well, that'd be deeply appreciated. And feel free to leave any feedback or any suggestions for new videos in the comment section down below, or any games that you want to see an FPS increase guide for. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. I've been Panjno, and I'm out.